So today we're going to learn one more different type of method of graphing. There are several different methods, and you want to be able to have all the tools in your toolbox so you can use different methods to help you out with some of the harder questions. So this one, the title is Graphing Axes Intercepts. Okay? Graphing Axes Intercepts. So what is an intercept and what is an axis or axes? An axis, just to remind you, is when you have your x and your y axis. So our x-axis is going horizontal, so this is your x-axis, and your y-axis is going up or down. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to find where we're crossing those two lines. So you need to know that where you cross the x-axis is called the x-intercept. Okay, x-intercept. Intercept means where are you crossing. So please write this down. Where you cross the x-axis, it is called the x-intercept. Please completely write intercept. But now, and what would be a good abbreviation for intercept? Oh, that's hilarious. Sheridan, come here. Okay, so x-axis is called the x-intercept. X-intercept means that you don't go anywhere left or right. Okay? Sorry, pardon me, check that. You don't go anywhere up or down. Okay? So there's no vertical movement whatsoever. And that's why y equals 0, because we do not go up or down. Okay. So if I had a line, I'm just going to grab and draw a line. Okay. So right there on this line, right here where I cross it, that dot, that specific point, that is what we call our x-intercept. And an intercept you can abbreviate int dot. Okay, so int dot, that's intercept, short form. Any questions so far? Why does y equal 0? Because you're not going up or down. Well, I'm just trying to cover stuff up. Okay, there we go. So, we can use the idea to find x-intercept. So the intercept is a point with values, some number, comma, 0. 0 being your y value. Or short form, we can say the x-intercept as x equals a number. But we've got to be careful with that because that's also an equation of a line. Okay. Good. I'll give you some time to write. We have y equals 3x minus 3. What we're going to do is we are going to find our x-intercept. So quickly write down x-intercept. You want to label what we're doing. And then you want to write down y equals 0. That's something you should write down for every question today so that you have it memorized. Okay, now if you're stuck, you can just quickly draw your axes. Oh, x-axis, I don't go anywhere up or down, so y equals 0. So you can figure out that way as well. Okay, you guys stuck or what? No. Okay, so we get 0 equals 3x minus 3. So we take this 0, ooh la la, boom, done. And then we can solve. So we have to add 3, showing lots of work because I want to make sure we get this. This is really important. And so then the next step is divide by 3. So we do the opposite of the multiplication. X equals what? 1. Okay. Good. Any questions about that? Is it easy to find? Yeah, but you got to be careful with your algebra because it's not -1. Or 3 or -3, it's simply a specific value. You must be careful when you're finding it. Okay, next. Now we're going to do the opposite. So there's a little bit of patterning here. Where you cross the y-axis is the y-intercept. Please write that down. Okay, so now we're going to find the y-intercept. Oh, there'll be less writing. Suck it up. For this one, we do not move left or right. Right? So there's no horizontal movement. And so the point right here, that is your y-intercept for this line. It is where you're crossing your y-axis. Very easy to graph. Okay. So if x equals 0, then we can use that to find our y-intercept. And again, int dot stands for intercept. Okay, so use that a lot. Write down the equation. Now this math will be a little bit different. Okay, so going through here, I'm going to show lots of work because I want you guys to be able to get this. We say we say y-intercept. And so x equals 0. They're opposites. Okay, and so we have here y equals 3/4 times 0 minus 3. And take that 0 and make it blue so it stands out. So we substitute that in. What's the fraction times 0? 0. So y equals -3. That is very common. This, in this format, which we practice changing to, that is always your y-intercept. If it's in that specific format. Always works out. Okay? And we can use that to graph later on. So what is the point? We have y equals -3, but how would we write that as a point? What's your x value? And your y value? -3. What about our x-intercept? How would we write that as a point? Please write it down. Don't stop writing. X value is, y value is 0. So that's what you're going to be doing for your homework, is once you find your intercept, write it as a point, and that's just to help you plot it on your graph. What? Yeah, did you write it down? Oh. Write it down. Okay. Good. Any questions? So what we're going to do is graphing, write this down, graphing by axes intercepts. So we're going to do some different equations in different formats, okay, to practice 3 different scenarios, which will be the hardest scenarios you'll see. You know, the first 2 are pretty generic, you just got to be careful. And the third one, you'll be like, what? Weird. And then we'll tell you how to do it properly, okay? So the first thing you want to do is find x and y intercepts separately. Those are always 2 separate questions. Okay. To save your writing hand, we write together, but they're separate questions. Once you find the intercepts, plot them and make your line. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to graph over here on the right. So leave a space. Now if you don't have a lot of space on your page, you'll want to turn it over because we've got 3 graphs. So we're going to do our work over here. Okay, so we're going to do our work on our left and graph over here on our right. Okay, so leave some space, you know, kind of in the center of the page. Sarah? Yeah, this is the last section. We've got 3 equations, so you'll need a bit of space below line equation 3. Probably about 4 lines should be fine. Okay. Any questions? Let's worry about the graphing after. Let's find our intercepts first. So x-intercept. And what else do we write down? Y equals 0. Good. So then substitute in 3x plus 5 times 0 equals 15. Go ahead, do your math, solve for x. Ooh, you're so special. Now I'm going to show lots of work. Once you found your intercept, please write the point in brackets. Just practicing that to get it all solidified exactly what everything means. Okay, so we get a value of 5 for x, 0 for y. Okay. Now, once you found your x-intercept, find your y-intercept. And for your y-intercept, what else should we write down? X equals 0. Okay, so they are opposites. Y-intercept, x equals 0. And so you're going to get 3 times 3 times 0, plus 5y equals 0. 0 plus, 15, thank you, equals 15, 5y equals 15, y equals 3, and your point is 0, 3. Okay, so let's graph it now. Now I'm not sure if I talked about that because I'm confusing my 9s and 10s because they're both doing the same unit. So you make a grid, use a ruler. To help you with the lines, you go in between the line, on the line, in between the line, on the line, in between, on. So you don't need grid paper to make it an approximate graph. In between, on, in between, on. You want to get about 8. If you need more, you can make it more.
Can I just do it all in big graph?
On the line, in between the line, on the line, in between the line, on the line, in between the line, on the line. And then you don't have to worry about graph paper. You can have these side by side. We are going to be graphing more than one line on here. Left to right, you got to try and keep it equal distance like you did up and down. And that's why it's just going to be a bit of an approximation. Now to help you out and cheat, make your dots a little big. That way your line can go through them, and it's because it's not going to be 100% accurate, right? Good. So I'm going to use a blue line for the first equation. How many points do you need to make a straight line, by the way? 2. That's it. That's why you got to be super careful with your algebra, because if you're off, you get the wrong line. So you got to be very careful. So plot 5, 0. There's 5, 0. Plot 0, 3. It's right there. And then you can make a line. Now, because I don't have sidelines to my grid, what should I use to help show that my line goes forever? Arrows. So since I'm not using a small grid, I want to show my lines go forever by putting arrows on there. Okay. Good. And what else should I put on my line so I know what the line is? Starts with an L, A, B, label, right? So I should write the equation, but what's an easier way than writing the entire equation? We can call that example 1, line 1, example 1, because I have all my examples labeled. Okay, so watch for that, a bit of a shortcut there. Any questions? Have a look. Make sure your line matches mine. Okay. Same slope. Okay, so the same kind of steepness to it. Any questions? All right. Next one. What are you going to have to find? You're going to have to find your x-intercept. And over here, find your y-intercept. Now there's a trick here with your y-intercept. Be careful with your algebra. Go ahead and find them both. Let's see what you can do. Go. Okay, how many people have found your y-intercept? Now, here's what you got to be careful of. What is 0 minus 3y? No, if you have 0 and you take a number away, negative. That's really key. That's the only trick with these, is you got to be careful with your algebra and make sure that you get a negative sign for your 3y. Okay? And that's only when you have a subtraction in between. So your final answer here then is going to be y equals negative 4. Okay? So the point is 0, comma, negative 4. So you can plot that. Now I'm just going to use x equals 6. 2, 4, 6 right here. And negative 4 for my y is right there. There we go. Nice long line. What should I use to show that it goes forever? And why should I use that for this, the way this grid's set up? Yep. Because yep.
There's no, like, I don't know what you call it, like, on the outside, so you don't know.
Yeah, there's no edge to the grid. Okay, if there's no edge to the grid, you should definitely use arrows to show that the line goes on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Okay? I know, but hopefully you remember that on your quiz and test. Yep. Good. So this is a very exceptional case. What's the value of your constant? 0. Right here, it's 0. So what I want you to do is quickly find your x-intercept and your y-intercept. Go. Trust your math. Find your x-intercept, y-intercept. Don't graph it. So a lot of you are saying this is so weird because okay. So guess what? What's your intercepts? 0, 0. Where's this line going through? The origin, right here in the middle. So you can put a point there. But we don't know if our line goes this way or that way or that way or that way. Like, we just know it goes to the origin, but that's all. So we're going to have to do something different here. What else? What other method do we know how to graph? What did we do yesterday? What 2 things did we do yesterday? Well, one thing is we did an XY table. If you do an XY table for this one, what number should you start with? Negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. Now, if you do the math, you're going to get what kind of answers? Do you want fractions? No. So, you're going to have special numbers for x, aren't you? Do you know what those special numbers are? Don't say decimals. It's like swearing. You just told me to. Exactly. So, 2x minus 3y equals 0. You have to change this to y equals so that you can figure out what the fraction is in front of x. Go ahead, change that to y equals. The first thing you should do is move 2x to the other side. Go. This is a review of yesterday. Yeah, but you watched the video, downloaded the notes, and did your homework. So I'm not sure why you're going to use that as an excuse. How do you move 2x? What's the sign in front? It's a plus, so what's the opposite? Minus. Good. Now what are you going to do to get rid of that times 3y? No. No. Negative 3. So you're going to get y equals negative 2 divided by negative 3x. Is that a good way to leave our final answer? Absolutely not. So y equals what? Positive 2/3 x. Now we can do an xy chart and we can choose good values. What numbers are good values for x? -6, -3, 0, 3, and 6. Without doing any math, what's this point? X is 0? You found it over here. 0. Okay, so that's our intercepts. We go through the origin. Okay, go ahead, do your math, fill out the chart. Go. What's -6 divided by 3? What's -6 divided by 3? Good, so you cross those out and you put -2 right there. And so all we have to do now is go 2 times -2. And that's why we chose those numbers. What's 2/3 times -3? So basically, good, so divide first. -3 divided by 3 is -1. Multiply. Yeah. See what we're doing there? Okay. Do the next ones, okay? Do the positive ones, please. Do I need to do the other ones, or is there a pattern? What's the pattern? Yeah, going up by 2, so this should be 2, and this should be 4. Okay? So now you can take those points and graph the line. Okay, go ahead and make your graph, please.
Can I just graph it on this graph?
Graph it on the same one. Okay, please graph on the same one.
So just choose any of these?
All of them. Good. Okay, so there's line 3 graphed. Any questions? Now line 3 is a big exception.